Got some breaking news now. The economic collapse blog Michael Snyder now reporting that a third of all U.S. shopping malls are projected to close as space available signs are going up all over America. We've been touching on the economic armageddon that has been taking place over the last several years as we're seeing big box stores shutting down. We're seeing the vacancies of malls. It's just like these malls are turning into ghost towns. But there is a ray of hope. And we see a Trump economic boom on the horizon, but is that going to be enough to solve the problem? And what can you do? Well, to get answers to these questions, we are turning to Charles Thorngren from the noblegoldinvestments.com. Charles, right off the bat here, what are your thoughts on taking a look at these pictures? We've seen these photographs circulating all across the internet. Some very troubling photographs of malls in shambles. What does this mean? Is this just a shift in the way people are buying, or is this a symptom of a greater problem?
Great question. And if you listen to the people that want to convince you that everything's fine, they're going to tell you it's just a shift in the way that we as a society are buying now. But it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. This really has to go to the lack of a company being able to make a profit. You have companies that are hurting. Big companies, JCPenney, Sears, I know you've touched on a few of them, H.H. Gregg. All these companies absorb that space in those malls. Without those major retailers, you now have a facility that has no big name. There's no draw, and they can't afford to maintain that shopping center because they don't have the ability to pay for the loan that they took out for that property. It's a big, big issue. And it's really symptomatic of what's going on in our economy that a lot of people aren't really talking about, whether it's through the lack of knowledge or something else. But it's a major issue, and it leads to great things and great troubling things. Now,
some of these pictures we just flashed on the screen of these malls, abandoned malls, very apocalyptic scenes, something out of I think there was a movie once where everybody lived in this abandoned mall, and it's such an apocalyptic vision of the future. But stores like JCPenney, stores like Sears and Macy's, these stores are the anchor stores in these malls, employing hundreds, if not thousands, of people in some of these towns. So when these anchor stores evaporate, what's the ripple effect in these towns, in these malls?
Great question. And really, the ripple effect is a lack of economic stability. You see not just those immediate jobs that disappear, but the jobs that surround those jobs disappear too. There's a whole industry that caters to the mall. Your hot dog on a stick, your Orange Julius, all those places. They employ people because there's traffic there. Your mom and pop stores, your smaller stores, they no longer have that main draw of these big names. They lose as well. It becomes a cycle where it just continues to get greater and greater, and the devastation becomes more pronounced when you don't have those anchor stores. And it's a scenario where you want to take a worst case scenario and see where it could go. Take a look at Detroit. When the auto industry left, look what happened to the city of Detroit. So if you take a town where the biggest thing there are these anchor stores, you see yourself in a situation where you could become the next Detroit. It sounds horrible, but it's what happens.
Now I got a message here that the film I was referencing was a film called Dawn of the Dead. And in that film, it's a zombie apocalypse type of a film. And it really appears as though we're heading that direction. Now, I don't want to get all doom and gloom. I really don't, because there is a silver lining on these things. But you got to hit bottom before you can go up. Let's take a look at what the bottom's looking at right now. According to one recent report, 310 shopping malls in America, 310, Charles, are in imminent danger of losing an anchor store, like we just talked about. Dozens of malls have closed in the last 10 years, many more at risk of shutting down as retailers like Macy's, JCPenney, Sears stores that we just discussed, the anchor stores shutter hundreds of stores to staunch the bleeding from falling sales. The commercial real estate firm CoStar estimates that nearly a quarter of malls in the United States, or roughly 310 of the nation's 1,300 shopping malls, are at high risk of losing an anchor store. I mean, and he goes on to write about the beginning of the end of an article he wrote 4 years ago. Okay, this was all taking place during the Obama administration, and now we're watching it unfold into the Trump administration. So let's talk about that. Can Donald Trump, can his policies? We're seeing all these corporations say, yes, we want to invest in America again. We're going to bring jobs back. Ford and Chrysler and Sprint and all these companies. And is that going to be enough to stop the bleeding in this retail apocalypse we're looking at?
Really, really tough question there. Here's the good news. As a president, Donald Trump is a businessman. That's where his main focus has always been. That's why we brought him into power as a people. We needed to fix the economy. And let's not forget that he went to the Wharton School of Business, arguably the best business school there is in the United States and probably the world. So when it comes to a business approach and the economics of a business, he's very well versed there. So there is hope. But we have to understand, when you're dealing with economics, is this: nothing gets fixed quickly. It takes time. The good news is we can begin to start the process of fixing things. The bad news is it's going to take some time for it to happen. Mm-hmm. So the silver lining is there, but we have to be ready. We have to be informed and be ready for the next few years. It's going to get tough.
Now, you sent me... This is a American Gold Eagle. This is it's a little bit more than an ounce because it has to compensate for the base metals that were incorporated into the gold melt. Beautiful piece. Now this gold piece spot price today, what is it, about $12.30, $12.40 roughly?
Yeah, right now we're about $12.20 on the spot price. The value on that's just right about $1,300.
Wow. Okay, so the value on this is about $1,300. Now, there's another economic indicator that I wanted to bring up today, and when I talk to people like yourself who are in the gold investment business, a lot of times they go, "Oh, Bitcoin? No, I don't want to talk about Bitcoin," because it's like their nemesis. Because you have two schools of thought: you have the real hard money, and you have like these digital zeros and ones, which, in a sense, almost feel like fiat money. But of course, they have their own. They're bound by their own laws. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that we just watched gold and Bitcoin cross paths for the first time. As we're recording this piece right now, Bitcoin is holding at $12.50. So it's down just a hair, and it's almost at parity with gold right now. What does that tell you about the global economic situation? And we were just talking about the national with the malls, but what does this tell you about the global when you look at Bitcoin crossing gold?
Great question. And unlike some of the other companies out there, I'm not afraid to talk about Bitcoin.
All right.
Bitcoin really, when you look at what Bitcoin stands for, it stands for a complete lack of trust in the government's ability to maintain its debt and its fiat currency. That's really what it is. People don't invest in Bitcoin because they think it's cool. They think that it's a way to protect themselves. And that's what we should be focusing on. And as with any portfolio, you want to be able to be diversified. So, many of my clients have Bitcoin as well as gold and silver. There's nothing wrong with that. And when you're trying to help people, you don't focus on just one area. I've often said, Bitcoin shows a lot of where the world is at right now. And here in the United States, we are worried about our economy. We have big issues we're dealing with, but it's not just strictly us. It spans the world, and that's why you can see these cryptocurrencies take an effect and take a hold, and people are interested because it's a means to protect themselves. And that's where you look and say, okay, You got Bitcoin, you've got gold and silver. Between the two of them, you get diversified. You're truly protected.
I'm showing on the screen here some of the silver you sent me. These are the silver, they call them silver eagles, is that right? Silver eagles?
Correct. Yes.
And then you sent me a couple of these, and then of course the gold piece, which is just a beautiful piece. Now, this is something you specialize in. You help people. One of your specialties is the conversion of an IRA into solid gold.
Correct.
So you can actually get your IRA converted into it, and then you can have that gold shipped to your house from the IRA?
Correct.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. The number to call, 888-596-7916. You can get started right now with your portfolio. And especially when we're looking at the retail apocalypse that's literally upon us, it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least diversify some of your funds into these precious metals. And of course, hold them for yourself. You don't have to have Charles hold them in a vault. You can have them in your own home, in your own vault. So tell us a little bit more about how people, you want to bring up the market too, because in our last interview, we did speak about how the market just made some very serious moves, over 20,000. And also there's another move on the horizon. I should get an update on you from this, regarding the basket of currencies in China and Russia and their actions. So are any updates on those fronts?
Absolutely, absolutely. When you're looking at that basket of currencies, when you see all these economic troubles that are in play for the United States and the dollar, it makes you understand why the world would want something like that. Now, we don't want it because it doesn't help us. It affects us in a negative manner. But it makes it more understandable why the world would want something like that. There's that extra pressure. And we took steps over the past 25 years to become a global economy. That was the key thing. Globalism was important. We wanted to be able to, do business around the world. It was going to make everybody better. There were some of us who stood on the sidelines and said, no, it's going to make everybody worse. But that global economy now leads that IMF and gives them power. And this is why we have a problem. When April comes around, the end of April, and that decision is made, don't be surprised if you see the dollar lose hegemony, because the world is now saying we don't trust your dollar. And there's reasons why they feel that way. You look at our stock market right now, it's ridiculous. If you take a look at the Shiller price adjusted PE ratio, where today's value is 29.18. Most of you don't know what that means, but fair value there, if you're around 10, you're looking at a fair value for your PE ratios. 29.18 on a PE ratio is scary because it's only happened 3 other times in the history of the stock market. 2008, we all know what happened there. 1999 to 2000, and in 1929. It's considered an indicator of devastation for the market. You're going to see a reversal in that stock price and everyone's stock prices and the market values that it's terrifying. To put it in perspective, we need to lose about half the value of where your markets are at right now. That means your retirement accounts, your personal accounts, we're going to go in half again. It's 2008 all over, but it's much worse this time. This is an extended cycle.
Charles, I don't like where you're going with this. This is not good news that the markets have to correct themselves by half in order to get. I mean how much money would just simply evaporate off the face of the earth? About
$50 trillion from the world.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
it's not gloom and doom. Let me tell you why it's not.
It sounds like it. I know where people are going to be commenting. You're just gloom and doom. You're just trying to sell gold. Well, no, we're trying to keep you informed. Let's talk about this again. So, if that's a real scenario on the horizon, what is having the gold and silver? How does that protect you if the value just disappears?
Well, that's where gold and silver comes in. Mm-hmm. It is the anti-dollar. It is the anti-stock investment. It works as a seesaw. As that stock market continues to go down in value, your metals are going to continue to go up in value. Mm-hmm. Okay, everything works in cycles. Stocks go up, stocks go down. We've
definitely
had an extended period of time where they haven't gone down. That's terrifying. It's called a bubble. Every bubble bursts.
Do you think we're in a Trump bubble right now?
No. And I'll tell you why we're not in a Trump bubble. The bubble existed long before he even announced he was going to run in the race. Mm-hmm. Markets take much longer to react.
Now, I've interviewed individuals in the past that they believe that the globalists, if they should decide to try to take out Trump at the knees, they can simply manipulate the markets and blame it on him. Is that something that you have a similar concern about?
I do. You know, we talked earlier that he's a businessman. President Trump is a businessman. That's what he does. That's how he became known to the world. Uh-huh. He's put his foot squarely into the world of politics, and politicians don't like that.
Well, sometimes he's put his foot in his mouth too.
True. That's very true.
But that's what makes him Trump. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun to watch this guy. I love it.
You don't ever have to guess where you stand with him. That's for sure.
That's true.
But in a world of politics, you know, there was a point in time where people were businessmen and they became politicians to serve the people, serve their local areas, to serve the nation. We had a change in that. Politics became a career. Career politicians are now trying to protect their job. And a man like President Trump is bursting that bubble. He's not doing things the way that the politicians have agreed upon. And this is not something that we can blame one side or the other. The past 25 years have been ridiculous, and both parties are to blame.
I certainly agree. Any final thoughts before we go? Any specials you guys are running today, or have plans to run?
Yeah, give us a call. You know, we're going to help you with the IRA rollovers. We will make sure you mention Gary and mention the show, and we're going to offer you free storage and insurance and free account setup for IRAs that are moved over. Okay, that's roughly a $500 value. But give us a call. We'll go over all the details. We make it very simple. I have a team here that helps you with the paperwork, and you can see, you go online and see what people are saying about us. We're friendly, easy to deal with, and we make the process very simple. But more importantly, get protected. Things are happening. It's time to protect yourself.
The number on the screen, 888-596-7916. You see it down there at the bottom. Give them a call. Take action. Don't be left out when the retail apocalypse hits. Because it's, I mean, look, we're talking about it right now. There's thousands and thousands of stores that are in jeopardy. 310 right now on the edge. And of course, we can't just wait for government to solve the problems. We have to take matters into our own hands. And that's how you can take advantage of noblegoldinvestments.com. Charles, once again, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, you heard it here at the Next News Network. You need to take care of yourself and your family by making the right and informed decisions. That's why we do these types of interviews, because we don't always want to be doom and gloom. We want to provide solutions to some of the problems, and government is not always the solution. The solution lies with us and the decisions we make for our family. So hit that number on the bottom of the screen, 888-596-7916, and you can get some of this beautiful gold for yourself from Noble Gold Investments. They'll help you convert your IRA. So don't wait for Trump to stop the retail Armageddon. Stop it yourself. Comment below. Subscribe for updates. If you like what we're doing here at the Next News Network, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And always, we appreciate that. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.
You possess the power to impact the global narrative. Please share this report, and to get more videos like this, become a Next News subscriber by clicking the link below. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.